Hey guys, it's Kyle. I'm here to talk about our March detail for what it's like having solar panels in Michigan. It is our April bill for Consumers Energy, and we'll dive into the numbers right now. So as you can see on the very left, columns A and B, it has our total amount of kilowatt hours generated for the entire month. That matches with our bill, so it's 32 days, February 29th through March 31st. And just as a recap, since we do sometimes get questions on this, my solar panel system that I have at my house here, it's a 3.2 kilowatt hour system, so it's 8 total solar panels they're in-phase solar panels with 8 IQ8 plus microinverters. Okay, so it's about a 1,300 square foot house above grade and unfinished basement. So just to give you an idea of what that is powering. And we'll go over this later in the video, but the goal is obviously for the entire year to generate about 323 kilowatt hours for each month. So that's kind of an average. When you get them installed, the person who's going to do the installation is going to look at your average month's use of kilowatt hours, and they're going to target to get you at 80% powered by solar panels. So in that case, once again, it's 323 kilowatt hours. So I'll go over what we're looking at so far later in the video, but we'll dive into the numbers here. So you can see already this month was $34.84, and not too bad. It has the typical system access charge of $8. Distribution is pretty high there. It's about 16, almost 17, and yeah. But when we dive into the self-generated outflow section, you can see that there is a different rate being billed between 3/15 and 3/31 than it was for the 15 days before that. So 2/29 through 3/14. In the earlier part of this month, they were billing us at a higher rate of almost 10 cents, 0.95. And then you can see later in this month, it was 0.87. So I didn't dig into the numbers to see why. I'm actually surprised it went down, and that's awesome. I would love to see it, keep going down, but can't plan on that. So we'll see what happens next month. We'll be getting into the summer rates here soon. So just wanted to note that. And, I highlighted in red, the credit that we got for solar panels this past month was $16.82. And that is for 179 kilowatt hours that we actually sold back to consumers. So you can see here in column B, we generated 303 kilowatt hours, but we only sold back 180 of them. So the rest is the amount that we actually used. So when we dive into the numbers, down here in the lower half, you can see that the amount that we actually used while producing was 124. So that's the most ideal. You don't have to pay for any of those kilowatt hours that you actually produce and use in the same few minutes. So if you were to charge an electric car, you want to do that when the sun's out. It's basically free to charge your car at that time. It is hard to plan out. You can't always plan on the sunniest parts of the day. Maybe you're not home to do that, but just worth noting. And also worth noting here at the bottom, you can see this graph of what it was like for the whole year. So this April through August, you can see a huge drop after that. That's kind of when our solar panels were fully installed, fully working. We did get them fully installed, I guess, at the end of July, but with the high prices of cooling costs and all that, you can't really see a drop off until we get to the September timeframe. And then worth noting also, if we would have had it installed in May and June, those credits that we would have generated in the peak times of solar would have been able to be used in this July and August timeframe as well. So you would have seen those go down if we had them installed earlier. So if we look down at the bottom here, this is where I do the cost breakdown of having solar panels. So in-phase data, once again, it was 303 kilowatt hours that we generated. The amount of outflow that we sold back to consumers was 179. Gives us that 124 that we used while producing. And we were charged on our total bill for 239 kilowatt hours. That's the amount that we drew from the grid. And if we add in that total that we used while producing, it gives us 363, which is the amount we would have been billed on if we didn't have solar panels. So that calculates to about $73, and I do that by using my chart up here So you can see, it's kind of between these two numbers to get that $73 bill. And just to look as a nice comparison, this was April's bill last year, and you can see it was about $71.51. So, all right, I shouldn't say about, it was exactly that. So 73 is right on target with what it would have been. And then just to kind of see how much we're saving or losing based for having solar panels, the current bill was for $35. We saved $38 just because we had them. And that, that's found by taking the 73 minus the 35. And, we do still have that payment going on for solar panels, which is $86. So that includes that 7% interest rate, which is very high. And we will pay that off eventually, way before the 25 years. So we will start saving, of course, when we do that. But since we haven't yet, we are still paying extra $48 to have solar panels. So we have not reached the break-even point. It still is on track for like that 10, 11 year period. So it will make sense. We're not quite there yet, but it's going great so far. And then just to circle back on the thing I started with in the beginning of this video. So if we look at our total data here for kilowatt hours that we're generating, you can see this is column A, which is the date, and then C is the kilowatt hours, column B is the watt hours. So I do an average of like what we're getting per day and per month. So these are the two numbers to focus on. We're generating about 7 kilowatt hours per day, and then it ends up being about 222 per month. So the goal, once we include May and June in there, which are our best months, we should be looking at about 323 kilowatt hours per month. That was the goal of getting the 8 solar panels on there. So if we're not meeting that by the end of, I would say, July, if our average isn't close to that 323, it would possibly make sense to look at getting another panel or two put on there, because you should be able to get at least 80% out of the solar panels. So we'll see, to be determined as time goes on, but definitely looking forward to that. And then the last thing I'll just talk about is this is our sun data, and I find this over at weather.gov GRR/solar data, and it does give the amount of sunny days in the month. So this is January and February, column C, column D is March. And if I go down to the bottom, we can see that for 2024, March has not been released yet, but the average is around 48%. It was a pretty sunny March, so I would guess we'll be right in there. And like I said I would do in my February video, just give the results of that. It was a 47%, which was above average last month. So looking forward to getting that detail as well, but just a nice comparison to have. So yeah, overall, great month and very happy with solar panels so far. So as always, if you have any questions, let me know, and appreciate you listening.